Alrighty students, it's Mr. Arevalo with another brand new lesson, and for today's lesson we're going to be focusing on box 1, 10.4, parallel lines and perpendicular lines, okay? Perpendicular lines. Give you some time to write that down. One more time, that's parallel and perpendicular lines, okay? Going on into box 2, or mathematical practice. For today's MP, okay, I want us to focus on MP3, which is justify and critique. I feel that we've kind of left this one out, so I just want to kind of go over it and elaborate a little bit on it. Justifying and critique is simply explaining why you are using a strategy or why you got a certain answer, okay? So when Mr. Arevalo asks you, well, how do you know, or you know, why did you say that? Okay, it's when you tell me and you explain with evidence, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. Going into box 3, our purpose. Today we will identify and draw parallel lines and perpendicular lines, okay? Give you some time to write that down. In 3, 2, and you guys know what to do on the bell. Today, we will identify and draw parallel lines and perpendicular lines, okay? Mr. Arevalo, I don't know how to spell perpendicular or parallel. Just open up your book, okay? It's in 10.4. It's the title. Going on into box 4, this is our APK, activating our prior knowledge from yesterday's lesson or previous lessons, right? It doesn't always have to be the day before. The instructions read as, classify each triangle, write equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. Alrighty, so for our first APK problem, I have one triangle that has the side lengths of 10 inches, 8 inches, and 5 inches, okay? When I am writing this, okay, I need to basically remember what type of triangle has sides that are all uneven, so none of them are the same length, okay? And this is scalene, okay? This is definitely a scalene triangle. Hopefully you're able to get that, okay? Going into our next triangle, I have two sides that are equal. Actually, I have 9 inches on one side right here. This is 9 inches. Then I have another one right here, which is 9 inches as well. Okay, so that tells me that this is definitely going to be isosceles. Okay, this is an isosceles, S-C-E-L-E-S, isosceles triangle. How do I know it's isosceles? Because it has two sides that are the same length, okay? If it was equilateral, all the sides would be the same. If it was scalene, none of them would be the same. So great job on getting those, okay? Going on into box 5, our new vocabulary. Remember, chapter 10 basically has new vocabulary every day. Okay, our first new vocabulary term is going to be intersecting lines. Okay, intersecting lines. These are lines, okay, lines that cross at exactly the same point. Give you some time to write that down. Alrighty, and if I'm looking at our actual image, I just kind of want to show you what I mean. So you have one line that's going like this, and you have another line that's going like this, okay? Those are different lines. But right in the middle, right here, okay, they cross. That's where they intersect. So because of that little point where they cross, we say that these lines are intersecting, okay? Pretty simple. For our next vocabulary word, we are going to write parallel lines. Parallel lines, okay? Parallel lines are lines, obviously, that are always the same distance apart and never touch. Okay, give you some time to go ahead and write that down. Mr. Arevalo, what do you mean that they're always the same distance apart and that they never touch? Well, if I'm looking over here, you're going to see I have this one line right here, and right underneath it, there's another line. It looks pretty much identical, right, to the other line. Well, these lines are the same distance apart. You can kind of more or less see right here. They are the same distance. Okay. They're the same distance, and these lines go on for infinity. They keep going on and on and on, and they never ever touch. Okay? Kind of keep that in mind. And also, one thing to kind of note is that when you write this, when you write parallel lines, like the mathematical symbol for parallel lines would be just two little lines. Okay? Exactly like that. So if you guys want to just practice writing that, okay, it's pretty simple, but essentially it's just two lines that look like that, okay? I know it's kind of hard to put them straight, but just kind of keep that in mind. That's how we show parallel lines. Alrighty, okay? Going on, and your last new vocabulary term is going to be perpendicular lines. Perpendicular. Oops, that's an A and then an R, okay? Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are, that's going to bug me. Let me erase this A real quick and put a new one for you guys, okay? I don't want to be lazy. Okay, I need to practice what I preach. All right, these are lines. These are lines that cross, okay, that cross to form right angles. Or you can even say lines that intersect. Intersect just means that they cross, right? Okay, so lines that cross to form right angles. Mr. Arevalo, what are you talking about? Let me show you. I have one line going straight up and down, vertical, right? And then I have another line going straight across from left to right, horizontal. So these lines, okay, when they cross or they intersect, they form right angles. You can see there's one right angle there, one right angle there, one right angle there, one right angle there, okay? And remember, right angles just look like L's, okay? Now, what's important for this is that this also has a mathematical symbol, and the symbol just literally looks like an upside down T. Okay, so if you want to write it, just draw a line first, and then underneath that, you'll put the T, right? Upside down T. So kind of keep that in mind. And those are our new vocabulary terms, okay? So this lesson, you're going to definitely have to reference those terms, so please make sure that you do so, okay? You have them right there. Don't come and ask me, Mr. Arevalo, I don't know what perpendicular lines are or parallel lines. You have the vocab right here, okay? Make sure you use it. Going into box 6, or critical attribute, or the main component of today's lesson, step 1. We're going to look at the instructions. Well, the instructions right here say line AB and line CD intersecting at point T. Okay, so that's what it wants us to draw, I'm assuming, okay? So remember, if there's a little line above it, I need to make sure that I say that part, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. Line AB and line CD intersecting, that's pretty important, at point T, okay? So then basically it wants us to draw that and make sure that we put the points for that, okay? So now step 2, determine if the lines are intersecting, parallel, or perpendicular. Alrighty. Well, intersecting lines have two lines that literally just cross, okay? They cross like this. They don't, when they cross, they're not necessarily forming right angles, so I want you to keep that in mind, okay? Parallel lines, okay, have two lines that can go like this, right? The symbol for it just looks like two lines, but also kind of keep in mind that parallel lines can also look like this, okay? They can also look like this. Kind of keep that in mind, please. And then perpendicular lines, okay, are lines that intersect. Remember, they cross, and right in the middle, or, you know, when they cross, okay, they form those right angles, okay? You can kind of see all the way around. So that's that, okay? And it's telling us in the instructions that it wants line AB and CD intersecting at point T. So now we're going to draw the figure. Well, first of all, I'm going to draw a line, okay, just one line across, and that line I'm going to mark A and B inside of it, right? Points A and B. Then I'm going to draw another line intersecting through that, and I'm going to mark the points of C and D, okay? And then lastly, intersecting is where they cross, so right in the middle, okay? Right here in the middle, I'm going to put T because that's where they cross, that's point T. And that's it, okay? So simply, we just need to read the instructions and make sure that we draw whatever it's asking us to draw, and also that we label it, okay? So you'll definitely have to reference those vocab terms. So going into our example, draw and label the figure described. Well, right here it's saying line RS is parallel to line TU. Mr. Revelo, how do you know that it's parallel? Because remember, this in the middle means that it is parallel. Okay, that's the symbol, the math symbol for parallel. So, Mr. Revelo, does it matter if the lines are in vertical, if they look like this, or if they look like this? No, class, it does not matter as long as they are parallel. Okay, kind of keep that in mind. So I'm going to draw my two lines. Here's one line. I'll put the 2 points. Okay, that's going to be R, and that's going to be S. Then I'll put another line. Okay. Put 1 point right here. 1 point right here. That's going to be T, and this one's going to be U. And that's it. I drew two lines that are parallel. How do I know that they're parallel? Because these lines are about the same distance apart. Okay, I can tell. Remember, based off of this right here. Okay, same distance apart, and they will never, ever touch. Okay, but what was important about that was that I needed to make sure that I put the points inside of it too. Okay, it's not just two lines with no points. Kind of keep that in mind. Going into our next example, I have line BC, and that is perpendicular to line DE. So I'm going to draw one line going straight up and down. Put my points. 1, 2. That's going to be B. We're going to say this is C. Draw my other line straight across. Okay. This point's going to be C. This point's going to be, oops, sorry. I got to make sure that I'm looking at the right points, right? This is actually going to be point D, and this is going to be point E. You can see the right angles right here inside. Right angle, right angle, right angle. And that's it, okay? So again, I need to make sure that I reference that vocab because it makes a difference, okay? It helps me understand what I'm supposed to do. If I don't know what this symbol means, okay, if I don't know that this is perpendicular, how am I supposed to know what to draw, right? So kind of keep that in mind. Going into our non-example, where's the mistake? They're saying that line MN and OP, line OP, intersecting at point Q. Okay, I'll give you some time to talk to your partner because that's what they wanted you guys to draw. So let's go ahead and figure out where the mistake is at. Well, I see one line right here, which is MN, and I see another line, which is OQ. And the intersecting line right here, or the intersecting point, is point P. The mistake here, okay, is actually that they did not write line OP. They got confused. See where they put the Q right here? That should have been an actual P. And right here, they put the P, but it should have been a Q. So I'm going to just put the Q right there. So remember, it's those simple mistakes that we make that can throw us off. Okay, so you want to be very careful with that, and that ensure that you're reading the instructions correctly, right? Remember, our mathematical practice number 6, attend to precision. We want to make sure that we're doing that. Okay. Okay, going on. Alrighty, box 9, our critical attribute connection steps. Step 1, we're going to look at the instructions. Okay, look at the instructions. Pretty simple. Okay. Give me some time to write that down. Step 2, we are going to determine if the lines, right, if the lines are intersecting, parallel, or perpendicular, okay, perpendicular. Step 3, we are going to draw the figure. Okay, just making sure. Draw the figure. And that's it, okay? Pretty simple. Going into box 10 are sample problems. Okay, we're going to use the figure. And the instructions say, name a pair of lines that appear to be perpendicular, and also name a pair of lines that appear to be parallel. Okay, on the black line right here, this is where you will write your answer. So I'm looking for lines that are parallel. Well, first let's do perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular form a right angle. So first of all, I see this line, EF, and then I see this line all the way across right here, which is GH. So those are my lines I'm going to put. So I'm going to write line EF. I'm going to just go like this, put my line right above it. Line EF is perpendicular, right? Perpendicular to line, and you guys should write it exactly like I'm writing it, okay? In case you didn't, make sure that you do write it like this, okay? With the symbol right there. This symbol tells us that it's perpendicular, okay? So I would have accepted that, okay? I don't think I see any other lines that are perpendicular that form the right angles, okay? You can kind of see there's a right angle here, right angle there, right angle there, right angle there, okay? Going on to name a pair of lines that appear to be parallel. Remember, parallel lines never, ever touch, okay? They never touch. And let's see if I find any, because I actually don't see any, okay? So this could kind of be considered a trick question, because parallel lines never touch, and they're always the same distance apart. All these lines here appear to be intersecting. They all cross at one point. Okay, so right here I would just write none. Okay, kind of keep that in mind. Alrighty, going on. So for our recap in today's lesson, today we identified and drew, okay, parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Give you some time to write that down. Alrighty, and for today's homework, you're going to focus on the share and show problems 4 through 8 and number 20 on pages 413 through 414. Your homework, please do 10.4 front and back. So again, please make sure that you refer to those vocab terms, okay? That's going to be the part that you guys kind of make the mistakes in. So I want to make sure that you are attending to precision. With that said, see you in the next lesson. Bye.